Well, folks, Democrats are looking at the polls and beginning to panic over Joe Biden. When I talk about Joe Biden's vulnerability, other people on the left are noticing his vulnerability. They're trying to chalk it up on the radical left to his support for Israel, but he's just a vulnerable candidate. He's a bad candidate. He's been in the low 40s or high 30s in terms of his approval rating for months at this point. I mean, that just is what it is. The presidential job approval rating, according to Real Clear Politics right now, he is underwater by about 15 points. And that is not a major increase from where he was, as late as like July of 2022. At that point, he was 18 points underwater. He's been consistently underwater in terms of his approval rating since literally August of 2021. It is now November of 2023. So what that bespeaks is the fact that the president of the United States is a very weak candidate. David Axelrod, who is, of course, the chief political advisor to Barack Obama, he's like, well, maybe they shouldn't run him, maybe.
And my concerns, I want to make clear, I think Biden's been a great president. I think he's done things that will have generational impact and importance. I think he's, been honorable in the office. I have nothing but good things to say. But as I've said for like a couple of years now, the issue is not for him is not political. It's actuarial, and you can see that in this poll. I mean, there's just a lot of concern about the age issue, and that is something that I think he needs to ponder. Just do a check and say, is this the right thing to do?
Hey, that would be a good question there from David Axelrod. What's hilarious, though, is that the Democrat true believers are like, well, that just means we have to work harder. So here are the ladies of the View saying to Democrats, well, if you don't like the approval ratings, then work harder for Biden. I mean, here's the big problem, of course. If they get rid of Biden, it's going to rip open a can of worms like you've never seen. If Biden steps down, it's going to be a battle to the death between Pete Buttigieg, Kamala Harris, and Gavin Newsom. And that is an ugly battle for the Democratic Party. You basically have a prep school white kid, Gavin Newsom, against Pete Buttigieg, whose sole claim to fame is that he is a gay mayor, against Kamala Harris, whose sole claim to fame is that she's the worst vice president in American history. And that includes Spiro Agnew, who had to resign from the job. Like, you think that Biden's bad. Wait until you get to the guys who are right below him. Anyway, here's the View, basically like, well, no, what if we just whistle our way past the graveyard here?
There's going to be a choice between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Axelrod says, this is the last time. No, actually, that ship has sailed. Like the deadline to get on the ballot for Nevada was 2 weeks ago. Yeah. There are deadlines that you need to meet in order to be on the ballot, and those deadlines are passing or gone. And so I think Democrats need to stop fretting, need to stop looking at this as a warning, and look at it as a wake-up call to organize, to mobilize, to register people, to talk about the accomplishments of this administration. If you want to beat Donald Trump, stop clutching your pearls and get to work.
Okay, well, we'll see how well that works out for them. In the end, I think they're just going to rely on the legal strategy to take down Trump. It may be successful, by the way. Again, just because it's scurrilous and gross doesn't mean it won't be successful. I want to talk to you about Daily Wire's most trusted privacy partner and premier sponsor of this show, ExpressVPN. When you use the bathroom, you always close the door behind you, right? So how'd you let people look in on you when you go online? That'd be a dumb move. Using the internet without ExpressVPN, it's like going to the bathroom and not closing the door. Did you know your ISP knows every single website you visit? What's worse is they can sell this information to ad companies and tech giants who will use your data to target you. ExpressVPN puts a stop to this. It creates a secure encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet so your online activity cannot be seen by anyone. ExpressVPN works on everything, phones, laptops, even routers, so everyone who shares your Wi-Fi can still be protected even if they don't have ExpressVPN. The best part is using ExpressVPN, it's as easy as closing that bathroom door. You just fire up the app, you click one button, and now you are protected. ExpressVPN is the world's #1 rated VPN by Mashable, The Verge, and countless others. So if you're like me and you believe your data is your business, protect yourself at expressvpn.com/Ben. That's expressvpn.com/Ben to get 3 months for free. Visit expressvpn.com/Ben to learn more. That's expressvpn.com/Ben. The October 15th tax deadline has already passed. I know many of you might be dreading the stress of filing your taxes. Filing your taxes can be a long, excruciating process, but if you fail to file, you'll start to pile penalties on your tax debt. This is why you need to check out Tax Network USA. The team at Tax Network USA has a track record of success. They've reduced tax debts for numerous clients, totaling over $1 billion. Whether you're looking at a $10,000 or $1 million tax debt, they can help you with a settlement. Doesn't matter if you haven't filed in a year, 5 years, even a whole decade. Tax Network USA is equipped to secure the best settlement for you. Their expert attorneys and tax professionals can help resolve all tax cases, no matter how they started. Don't let tax debt control your life any longer. Take the first step to resolving your tax issues by visiting taxnetworkusa.com/Shapiro. Again, that's taxnetworkusa.com/Shapiro today. If you've fallen into tax debt, it can absolutely ruin your life. You need to figure out a way to get out of that, and you don't have to do it alone. You should contact our friends over at taxnetworkusa.com/Shapiro and take those first steps to resolving your tax issues. The White House is apparently doing nothing about actual pro-Hamasniks impeding the flow of military weaponry. Last night, pro-Hamas protesters broke into the port of Tacoma in an attempt to stop the shipment of military weaponry. Here was some of the tape. Where the hell are the police? Where are the federal authorities? And these are protesters who blocked the port of Tacoma on Monday to protest what they said was a military ship bound for Israel. During the 12-hour protest, some people marched in circles, some waved Palestinian flags, some held up signs that said, "No aid for Israel, ceasefire now, and resist until return," which of course is a call for the destruction of the state of Israel. Protesters believe the ship is transporting military equipment and weapons to Israel. If that is in fact the case, then these are people who are obstructing the function of the federal government, which means they're engaging in criminal activity. Are any of them going to be prosecuted by the Biden administration? I'm still waiting. Speaking of which, is anyone going to be prosecuted for defacing the White House gates? So the day after that giant protest over the weekend, the White House gates were stained with bloody red handprints. This is called passionate protest by the journalists. Good news, they left their fingerprints directly on the wall. So you could arrest all of those people. If these were right-wingers who had done this, all of them would be in jail, presumably without counsel, because that's the way this works. If, however, you are a pro-Hamas terrorist supporter and you put your handprints, your bloody red paint handprints on actual federal property, then everything is totally fine. Again, as long as you identify with the right people, you can do whatever the hell that you want. Meanwhile, this is having some impact on how the Biden administration is approaching the Israel-Hamas issue. Joe Biden is now raising the possibility of a tactical pause in Gaza fighting with Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, Israel is engaging in tactical pauses. Anybody who's been watching this conflict closely, like granularly, the way that I have, you understand there's certain hours of the day where there are no bombings, and Israel has multiple times, like a lot, announced we're not bombing between 10 and 2. Now is the time for you to move south. Israel does this a lot. Netanyahu himself said in an interview with ABC News, quote, "As far as tactical little pauses, an hour here, an hour there, we've had them before. I suppose we'll check the circumstances in order to enable goods, humanitarian goods to come in, or our hostages, individual hostages, to leave." But if the Biden administration is putting pressure on Israel to basically leave Hamas in power with ceasefires, then that is going to be a ridiculous failure on the part of the Biden administration. And that, of course, is the entire goal of the media at this point. John Kirby was pushing this yesterday. Here was the spokesperson for the National Security Administration suggesting that Netanyahu should consider, quote unquote, tactical pauses. I don't even understand what that means.
With the president and Benjamin Netanyahu, we were told that there was a good deal of discussion about a potential for tactical pauses in the fighting, again, for humanitarian relief and all of that. Did that come up, or was it nixed by Benjamin Netanyahu? What can you tell us?
It certainly did come up. It was absolutely one of the top things that the president wanted to talk to Prime Minister Netanyahu about. This is something we believe needs to be explored, needs to be considered. And we're not just talking about one pause. We believe that there's probably value in multiple tactical pauses, discrete time, discrete geography for discrete purposes. And we still want to pursue that. And we believe that this is a conversation that we have had in recent days with the Israelis, and we know we're going to continue to have those conversations going forward. We're at the beginning of this conversation. We don't think we're at the end.
Okay, I don't even know what you think the end looks like then. Bottom line is this. Whatever the United States has to say about tactical pauses, Israel is not going to leave Hamas in place. They're just not going to. It is not a possibility. There is complete unification within Israel and the military power to get rid of Hamas. This is what they're going to do. And what's going to come after is probably Israeli military control of the Gaza Strip. Even if some other power is put in municipal control of the area, Israel is going to have the ability to put its military assets on the ground in order to ferret out future terrorism. Israel will never, for the rest of its history, undergo what just happened again. Any government that would allow that to happen would not last very long in the state of Israel. Are you tired of the lies and the twists of the mainstream media talking points? Yeah, me too. Join me in my newest series, Fact, where I dismantle and bring truth to this tiring mainstream agenda.